Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Personal Beauty. I'm your host, Shannon, as always, and I have another fun episode for you guys today. I think this one the girls will appreciate a little bit more. So, today, and in similar fashion to previous episodes, we're going to be discussing clean girl makeup. This has been a big trend since I believe the end of last year, and clean girl makeup kind of around the globe can be seen in a couple different ways. So, if you guys didn't already know from the accent, I'm from the United States. In the United States, clean girl makeup kind of took a life of its own, and it looks a little bit more like that sort of sun-kissed, kind of beachy, glowy vibe. And we're going to try to accomplish the same thing, but a little bit more with a Korean flair. So in the K-pop world, you might have seen like the dewy sort of skin texture type, and that's for a reason. So a lot of times we've talked about the emphasis of Korean beauty being about emphasizing natural features and the skin. When it comes to clean girl makeup, it's sort of viewed a little bit differently in Korea. So in the States, sometimes they'll leave little freckles or they'll leave little like beauty marks and stuff on the skin because it has a sort of natural charm. In Korea, clean girl makeup sort of translates to kind of beauty from within and with a skin kind of connotation. So basically what we're going to be focusing on today is perfecting the skin with minimal makeup and then also making it look more or less very natural. So this is going to be a very wearable sort of everyday look versus the previous episodes where we focus a little bit more on K-pop style or K-drama style. So I've got a couple of products for you here today. There's a couple that are going to be a little bit more familiar and then a couple that we've never seen before. So I'm really excited to show you guys this. If you guys have any questions or comments, make sure that you leave it in the live chat down below. I would love to hear from you guys. I'd love to be able to kind of respond and talk to you in real time as well. So if we're not going to waste any more time, let's just go ahead and get started from this side. Admittedly, I do have a little bit of makeup on today. Like I said, there's kind of some non-negotiables when I'm going to be on camera, and one of those things would definitely be my eyebrows. So for the eyebrows, I usually just use a slight kind of ashy blonde color whenever I'm just filling them in. I don't do any sort of block brow or anything really heavy. I just try to make it look as natural as possible, but I actually am missing a little bit of hair on the side, so I try to make it look a little bit more smooth. And then the other one is my eyelashes. So my eyebrows and my eyelashes are both naturally blonde, and it doesn't really look that great on camera. So I did already do that. I've also done a little bit of liquid blush, which I'm going to be explaining a little bit more kind of as we move on. But to go ahead and get started, we're going to start with this one. So the all-important primer. Primer is super important, especially in this heat, you guys. And there's actually a couple things about the heat that make makeup a little bit more challenging. And one of them is actually because it's so hot outside, everyone is blasting the AC inside. And this can actually dry you out a lot, especially your skin, especially like your lips and things like that. So a glowy sort of hydrating primer is really important. And that's how we're going to start today. This particular primer is actually a more liquidy, kind of serum-y consistency versus a lot of the ones that you'll see are a cream or some sort of mattifying solution. So I don't know if you guys can see that. It's moving really, really well. It's really thin. I'm just going to put a test trial on this on the sides here. I did put sunscreen on and I'm hoping it doesn't break, but let's just give it a go. So let's just check out the texture. So it's really nice and liquidy. Okay, very, very thin, very light. I'm just going to apply a little bit kind of on my cheeks here. I do have that blush on and I don't want things to separate, so I'm just going to put some primer on underneath. Okay, so right away it feels a little bit tacky, which is actually what you want from a primer. And glow-wise, it gives you a nice little sort of sheen. Makes it look a little bit more dewy, a little bit more moisturized, which is always something that we're looking for. So let's try it on the other cheek as well. I am super dry from the aircon. Aircon? AC? I've been in Korea for 5 years, so now I say aircon. How do you say air conditioning in your country? Let me know in the caption down below. Okay, so just enough that I can sort of see what it would look like on the skin. Okay, so we've got a nice little sort of tacky texture on the skin, but without feeling any sort of heaviness or congestiveness. I know a lot of times when it comes to makeup, layering products and things like that tends to feel quite heavy on the skin. In this case, it doesn't. It actually absorbs really nicely. It feels really light, which is actually what we want for something when it's super hot in Korea. So that is our primer. We're going to start with primer. Next up, we're going to go through some of these other ones. Now, I think I have two types of this. Give me just a second. That is concealer. I think it's maybe this one. Okay, yes. So these are tints. Let's just go ahead and open this new one. I haven't tried this one yet, so let's just see what it's all about. So these sort of like tinted ones, these are usually actually a blush. I think I've explained my love for liquid blush that I've recently kind of discovered on the previous episode. But liquid blush is easily one of my new favorites. It's something that you can apply to your cheeks, obviously for contour. But I also put it a little bit on my eyelids over here. This kind of blends in the tones of my face. Gives me a little bit more of a sun-kissed kind of blushy look overall. So I just put a little bit on my hand. I just kind of blended it in right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's quite light, it's quite faint, so liquid blushes definitely are a little bit more buildable, but they can be used all over your face. So they can be used for nose contour, cheek contour, eyelid contour, all kinds of stuff. So this is definitely a really good way to achieve that sort of clean girl look, because this can be applied without making the skin look like cakey or matte. I think mattifying the skin is the one thing that we want to avoid the most. So mattifying, for those of you guys that are a little bit less familiar, mattifying is when the skin sort of highlights look flat. So it would be the opposite of wet. Think like silk texture versus velvet. One of them kind of absorbs light and obscures, dimension. The other one actually highlights those things. So we're going to go for that more silky look. We want it to look a little bit more dewy and a little bit more natural. This is why I love liquid blushes. I'm actually wearing one right now. It doesn't really obscure my skin texture at all. And it's not powdery, so I don't feel like it's going to wear away quickly or like I have to reapply quickly. So definitely if you guys want to achieve that clean girl look, make sure that you pick up a liquid blush. Up next we have concealer. So we actually have two different types of concealer. This is the one that I tried last time, but when I tried it, it was slightly dark for my skin tone. So we're going to see if this one's a little bit of a better fit. And when it comes to concealer, less is more. I know that if you guys were a victim of the 2016 sort of crazy makeup phenomenon, then I understand. We actually want to avoid that. So we're not going to be, oh, I love that. I was not expecting that. So this is actually a sort of, what is this called? Spatula. Spatula applicator. That is so cool. So I like these because you can actually use them to scrape around the sides and really get all of the product. If you guys, I don't know if you guys can see that. So it's sort of a flat little spatula, but it's very flexible. This is so awesome. Let's go ahead and give it a go. Let's just try it. So this is a much better concealer shade for me. The reason I say that is because your concealer shade is supposed to be a little bit lighter than your natural skin tone. This is because if you use something that's the same skin tone, and as it wears away, the highlights of your skin are going to be shown a little bit more. So you actually want to use a little bit of a lighter tone, and then from there you'll put the foundation over top. This sort of mattifies it a little bit and takes away the... What am I trying to say? It takes away the visual effects of it. So go for something a little bit lighter like this. And just based off the formula right now, I really like the way this one blends. I put it right next to that blush. And the texture is very, very similar. So I don't know if you guys can see that. But the texture actually looks really creamy and very light. So I don't have any concealer on today. I do want to try to apply some of this for you. This is a much better color match for me. So let's just go ahead and try it out. And I've actually never used the spatula. So just to keep it clean, and to make sure that I'm not over applying the product, which is a big no-no for concealer, I'm going to go ahead and put some more on the back of my hand and then just tap it off with my finger. Okay, so I think that's about all I would need. So for reference, this is all I'm going to need for my whole face. The areas that I'm going to target the most is a couple little blemishes that I have down here on my jawline and then maybe the under eyes as well. When it comes to concealer, if you put on too much, because it is sort of meant to mattify texture, it does look visible. Like it looks a little bit more cakey. Or like too thick. And if you're going for that clean girl makeup, that's sort of the opposite of what you want. So I have a little bit on my finger right here. I'm just going to use my mirror and just apply it lightly. So see that? I don't know if you guys can see. It applies really, really well with just a little bit. So we really don't need a whole lot. We're going to go for the under eye area as well. Okay, and I think that's all I'm going to use. Genuinely. Oh, maybe my little friend down here. So I'm actually going to use my fingers to kind of apply this. I feel like when it comes to concealer or liquid products, especially concealer, I much prefer using my fingers because there is nothing that will accomplish a skin-like texture like skin. And your fingers are sort of the best little paintbrushes because they fit all of the creases really well without smearing or smashing the makeup. So I don't know if you guys can see. That's blended with my fingers just right around my chin. Really, really easy to do. A little bit of a pro tip, if you are going to use your fingers, always use the ring finger. The reason for this is because it has the least dexterity of your fingers, which makes it a little bit more soft. So this is going to avoid sort of smashing or you forcing the makeup around too much. You want it to act a little bit more like a brush naturally. You want your finger to do the work. So we're just going to go right around the under eye here. Just going to apply that. So I don't know if you guys can see it. It's actually very, very light. But here you can see it looks a little bit more even tone. And then right here you can see that sort of dark shadow under my eye. So we're just going to keep blending that out. I'm just going to go right underneath the under eye. And you don't need to close your eyes with this. You can actually just do a little bit of a more precise job with your eyes open. Trying to get underneath the lash line too so there doesn't look like there's any shadows. And done. I think that covers it. I'm just going to use the excess and go around my nose. This is usually for me where foundation wears off the most. There we go. And done. So super quick, super easy. A concealer is definitely a must-have. So if you have like naturally pretty clear skin, concealer is something that I would vote for when it comes to clean girl makeup over a full foundation. Foundations do tend to be a little bit lighter texture-wise, but this is going to do a little bit more with less product. So definitely grab a really good concealer. Again, make sure it's slightly lighter than your skin tone, and then less is more. Okay, so let's keep moving. Next up, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I keep licking my lips because my lips are just so dry and my skin has been so dry with all the AC on. So I am really looking forward to trying this. This is a lip tint. I don't know if I expressed my love adequately enough in the previous one, but lip tints are definitely one of my favorite. Oh, and I love this brand as well. So this is actually a peachy color lip tint, which based on my color analysis, I think is going to fit me the best. So we're going to go ahead and swatch it. Let's just see. This is Mulled Peach is the color. So let's just go ahead and check that out. Okay, so now you guys can see. Okay, so it looks more or less like a gloss. It doesn't have that super kind of thick, creamy sheen that a lipstick has. But what I like about tints is that they are long-lasting, so we don't have to worry about reapplying this one, which even just adds a little bit more to that sort of clean girl appearance, because then we're not constantly reapplying makeup throughout the day. So we're going to do this in a Korean style. We're actually going to apply it on the center portion of the lips, and then just kind of gently, blend it out. I think a more Western style of doing this would be going around the lip line and then kind of blending into the center. We're going to do the opposite. So we're going to start in the center. Need a little bit more. Oh, it smells so good. Okay. So just on the inner corner right there, so you can kind of see what that looks like. And then just gently kind of use your lips to smash it together. And that's it. That is it for like the facial sort of like coloring. Now we're going to get into the fun stuff. This is the one that I was looking the most forward to. This is actually a highlight, and this one is a serum, I believe. Yeah, it's a shimmering serum. So I've actually never tried a liquid highlight before. This should be pretty interesting. I do think I attempted this once in college with like a liquid eyeshadow. Didn't go so well, so we'll see. Oh, this is so cool. So it's a very similar packaging. Just get it open for you guys. Let's go ahead and swatch. Let's just take a look. I'm going to put it next to the blush. Ooh, okay. That looks like glitter glue. Like right away as it comes out, it definitely looks a little bit more like glitter glue. Oh, wow. That is lovely. Look at that shine. That is fantastic. So definitely safe to say that a little bit goes a long way with this one. You can see I just put the tiniest dot and it's already all over my finger. It's already all over my hand. One thing that I'm discovering about this as I'm testing it now is it does sort of dry down like a powder, which I kind of like. This will prevent the liquid from moving around makeup that you already have underneath. So for my girlies out there that are used to makeup, liquid highlighter or highlighter in general is something that you're going to use last. Highlighter always goes on the surface because this is something that you don't want to accidentally blend out with your other colors or with foundation or some sort of creamy formula. So we're going to use highlighter to highlight the essential spots. For me, I think the best way to go about this is if you have a bright light, I'm not assuming that you guys have lights quite as bright as the studio here, but when you move your face, put the highlighter where your natural highlights are. The wrong thing to do for a clean girl makeup look would be to try to highlight areas that aren't already naturally highlighted. So for example, I wouldn't be putting this on my forehead up here or in the middle of my contour. You want to go for the high points of the face. So the cheeks, and then on the bridge of the nose, and then maybe a little bit in the corner of the eyes to wake you up a little bit. So that dried down pretty quickly. I'm just going to use just a little bit. Just a little bit. We're going to try to apply it just lightly. I don't want to look like a snow globe, so we're not going to do too much of this. Okay, so I think actually I didn't put the primer on my nose, so it is moving around my blush a little bit. Oh, hello. Welcome. You want some highlighter? It's just like, Okay, so I think I'm just going to tap instead. This will help me to not smudge the makeup underneath. Okay. Nice. Just a very light little glow. We're going to go for the most minimal type that we can. So after that, I think we are finished with the highlight. Really just like a minimal amount of product, I think, is the biggest key when it comes to clean girl makeup. The last step that we want to do is this one right here. So this would actually be for eyes, for eyeshadow. For eyeshadow, I think with clean girl makeup especially, and I'm sorry I keep repeating that, but that is what we are focused on today, is neutral colors. So this is not the time to play around with like electric blue or purple or red, right? And we want to use a neutral sort of base. So this would imply like skin tones or some sort of like milky tone maybe, or a pink even. So what do you think? I think that's a sign of approval. I think we got it. So let's go ahead and look at this. I'm just going to open it up for you. Oh, is it unlocked? I think so. Oh no! Don't do what I just did. Don't smudge it. So this is what it looks like. This is what the powders look like. And then on the back, it actually gives you a little bit of a description of each one. These powders are not shiny. They're not shimmery. Again, what we want to do is kind of just highlight the contours of the face. We don't want to bring attention to areas that we're not focused on. So because we are looking for something a little bit more natural, I'm just going to take this very peachy shade, and I'm just going to go all over the lid. I'm not currently wearing any eyeshadow, so this is just going to act like a base tone. When it comes to eyeshadows, I feel like this area wears away pretty quickly. So we want to focus on a light beige sort of base. And then we might do a little bit of a shadow in the crease, but just enough to sort of give us some depth. So I don't have my brushes here with me, but my finger will work just fine. Okay, so we're just going to use this light little peachy tone. Okay. So right away, I don't know if you guys can tell, this eye is a little bit more mattified than this one. This one looks a little bit more glowy, okay? But this is actually going to bring some attention to the face without it looking like just a bunch of sweaty, shiny mess, which we don't want. Okay, so let's do it right here. I think next time I'll start bringing brushes. All right. I actually like that. I don't think I'm going to put the shadow because I think this looks good. So overall, this is just a really clean girl aesthetic. This is kind of what we were going for with using minimal products to achieve a maximum result. Again, some things that I did already do beforehand was eyelashes and eyebrows. That one is totally up to you guys, but as far as the skin product stuff today, I'm very happy with how the result came out. If you guys want more tips and tricks on how to do clean girl makeup, K-pop style, if you're looking into things about Korean culture and you guys are interested, definitely leave your ideas down below in the comment section. We definitely take a look at those. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week for the episode at 6 p.m. Love you. Bye.